Oh hey guys, don't mind me. I'm just waiting for Nintendo to explain the reason for Splatoon 3's existence. I might be here a while.
In the beginning, there was this beautiful piece of technology. Then, there was this garbage.
Oh, how the Wii U was disappointing. I mean, come on, they just gave up halfway through its life cycle.
You see, the Wii U was a disappointment when it came to new games. Most new games that came out for it were platformers that weren't bad, there was just too many. Now, of course, with every failed console, there's usually at least one good thing going on with it, and there were some really good games that came out on the system, for example, Splatoon. Splatoon is the reason why the Wii U is looked at fondly. It carried the system, and was a fantastic new IP that put Nintendo into the world of online shooters, but of course, there's a Nintendo spin with it. I mean, this is the company with a fat Italian and an ape as their mascots. Splatoon is a third-person online shooter where you play as a human-like squid shooting ink and can turn into a full-on squid and swim through ink with the main goal to cover more turf with your ink than the other teams.
Now this is an interesting concept, and of course there are other modes like Splat Zones and Rainmaker and Tower Control that got added in updates.
Now you think with this fantastic success for the Wii U that they would want to put it on their upcoming Nintendo Switch so it can sell better and get Wii U owners interested in the upcoming consoles. They did bring Splatoon to the Switch, but in the form of a full-blown sequel, which is weird since Splatoon released only 2 years before the release of the Switch. Now since they made a full-on sequel to it on the Switch, rather than just porting the original game, you would think there would be major improvements and additions in this game. You can change your character's hair now.
Freaking game changer!
Yeah, Splatoon 2 wasn't that full-on sequel that most would have preferred, but hey, they put Splatoon on the Switch.
Now let's fast forward today and look at the newest Splatoon game, Splatoon 3.
Wow, it feels like nothing's changed. I'm not wrong.
Alright, first let's see what they did to change the online multiplayer.
Well, now when you respawn during a match, it takes less time, and there's not one point on the map that you respawn at. You can shoot from these respawn things and BAM!
Holy crap, I saved 1 millisecond getting to death.
The ink looks a little different to me. I don't know, it looks more polished in 3D in my opinion, but it could just be the same. One thing that's massively changed in online is the lobby. You can actually walk around and shoot targets instead of staring at the lobby while it fills up. Watching the lobby in Splatoon 2 is about as interesting as watching paint dry.
I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty interesting.
Now as for any new multiplayer modes, they did add a 2v2v4 mode only for Splatfests.
Talk about a gimmick of a feature.
Now Splatoon 3 does have one cool new thing, table turf battles. In table turf battles, build up a good deck to ink more turf than your opponent in this card game version of turf battles. I gotta say though, this is one of those things that's great for a good bit, then you completely stop playing it and caring.
That just sounds like Switch Sports.
Well, maybe that new weapons and gear can change my low opinion of this game. During the trailers for this game, you can see in a lot of them this new bow and arrow type weapon they were hyping up prior to this game's release, and the weapon itself, you see, this weapon seems great in concept, but is horrible in reality. It just feels like a big gimmick that they tried to make into a big addition to the game. Now as for normal gear, you can make gear presets, and if one of the stores is selling something you already have, you can upgrade it and add another ability slot to it, which is actually a very nice feature. Now something new they've added to this game, poses, stickers, and decorations.
Wow, so cool! This really feels like a finished game! Not! You may be noticing a lackluster amount of new features and content. Well, here enters the thing that's gonna change your mind.
When you play a Splatoon game, what mode do you often skip over or don't even really notice? The single player modes in Splatoon 1 and 2 are like Hardies. Everybody forgets they exist, and the people that don't care. The single player modes in Splatoon 1 and 2 are obstacle course levels where you overcome obstacles, fight enemies, and get to the goal, and Splatoon 3's single player mode is similar in that regard of level design, but it's a little different. It's more like the DLC for Splatoon 2, where you have a specific task to complete, and that's how you beat the level. But like I said, it's still similar to Splatoon 1 and 2 with a lot of similar level design and level styles, but with a new twist. Now the hub world for the single player is awesome. There's lots of different secrets to find, and big enough to have a blast exploring and screwing around in. Now in the hub world you can find entrances to levels, secret items, or stickers, and upgrade tokens. Now the more you play in single player, the more level up points you get, but to use the level up points, you first need these tokens that you can find hidden throughout the hub world, and with these tokens you can unlock a chain of upgrades for your character that you can get and use with the level up points you get. Most of these upgrades are simple, like more ink capacity and faster fire rate, but some of these upgrades are really cool and useful, like ninja squid and different types of sub-weapons you can get. You also have this cute sidekick that follows you around with the main purpose of being used to get through some obstacles in a level. Speaking of levels, there are 66, not including the boss fights.
Dang, I was looking for a fun afternoon, not a fun weekend.
But yeah, the single player is a big step up from the previous games. But does that make this game worth it if you already have Splatoon 2?
No. It won't take long for that to change though, since they update the Splatoon games a lot during their life cycle. We'll probably see a lot of new junk added to the game in a year. So with all that being said, I'm glad to say this wasn't a complete waste of my money. But it was still dang close.